Hello and welcome. I'm my name's Angela Martin, and I'm doing the Reject Me, I Don't Love It workshop for you. I've been advertising this for some time, but obviously never got around to actually doing it. Now I'm actually doing it for all those of you who've been interested but never had the chance to get access. But before we start, I'm just going to quickly share my screen so you can see the slides for today's discussion. Okay. Right. Okay. I hope you can see that very clearly. First slide. Reject Me, I Don't Love It workshop. Yes, that's what it is. It's a workshop. It means you're going to have to do a lot of work. You're going to have to do a lot of listening, note taking. This is the first session of a session of 6 sessions. Bear with me one moment. Let me just charge up my laptop. Right on cue. Okay. Right, okay. As I said, it's the first session of 6 sessions. It's going to be hard work. You're going to have to listen very carefully and take notes. I think my objective really for you is just to obviously take something away whenever you're facing a situation of rejection. Nobody likes it. But I'm a Christian, and as I know, Jesus had the ultimate rejection from his people. So, no rejection is greater than that. Okay, so based on a short no-nonsense ebook message for men and for women who keep going back to old relationship patterns, that are detrimental to your mental health and guarantee you get you all back on. This is guaranteed to get you all back on track. Okay, so this is what this is all about: getting you back on track. And lots of us fall into these negative patterns. It could be a man, it could be a woman, it could be anyone. We've all been prone to do that. Obviously, certain age groups may be prone to do that because of lack of experience and lack of age, knowledge about certain situations. But in any way, I'm here to help those of you who have experienced this or are going through it, who may need the extra help. Okay. Right, so the book, for those of you who haven't seen it, but it's a free copy you can get on the Fire Ministry UK website. Bear with me one moment whilst I just go down and page down on that. Okay, right, okay, so the next slide, Reject Me, I Don't Love It. As you can see, the book that's the front cover of it. And as you can see a very despondent, very distressed looking woman, and she's looking at her mobile phone and looking very much as if she doesn't want to see what the message is going to be, but it's not going to be good, and she's kind of expecting that. So that's why the cover was chosen. For those of you who aren't aware of the Fire Ministry UK website, you can literally type in Vine Ministry UK, and literally, if you ignore the first prompt that comes up, which is usually about a ministry, by ministry, youth ministry, ignore that one because it's nothing to do with us. But the one below, it will tell you, welcome to the homepage of By Ministry UK. And if you go onto the blog library page, you will get, or even on events page, you'll get to access free copies and freebies of books, and also books you can actually access to help you in your Christian walk. And this one is amongst them. Reject Me, I Don't Love It. Okay. Right, so let's dive in. Just going to look at some statements that you might have seen lurking around, but obviously somebody wrote them because obviously they were thinking about it or experienced it. So the first one is, honestly, if a man wants you, you won't have to ask for effort. He'll make time, he'll call you, he'll text you. Trust me, no man is too busy for a woman he truly wants. That's quite a quite blunt statement, isn't it, really? And I think a lot of you now are probably cringing and thinking perhaps that's not what you're actually experiencing, and that's not how it is, and you're trying to sort of mold it into saying, oh no, that's not quite the way things are. But he does mean well, and I think I'm not imagining it, and no, it is something important. But these words, although harsh and very I can put it blunt, do they have some sort of significance? Do you feel that there has some sort of a truth? I mean, it's clearly stating quite clearly some sort of truth, otherwise you wouldn't be feeling uncomfortable about it. Let's investigate honestly. If a man wants you, you won't have to ask for effort. Okay, is that true? Sometimes it could be that that person is genuinely busy. So there are scenarios where that may not be the case. So, and it could be the case that they're at a bad time in their life and they're not ready. So then basically, you know, but I think what that's referring to is if you're mentally together, generally speaking, and men know what they want, and if they like something, just like if you like something, you like to eat something, you make sure you're available for it, aren't you? You know, you make an effort to get it because you like it. And that's the same with human nature. It could be a man or a woman. If you like something, you make an effort for it. And he'll make time for you. That's the thing, this time thing. What if he's a very busy man and obviously he makes time, yes, for those things he really wants to. Yes, we've seen it before, that you've got a million and one things to do in one day. But if you really, really like something, you make that extra time for that thing. So I think there's an element of truth there with that. He'll call you. What if his mobile's down? He's got no units for his phone, but then could use someone else's phone. Obviously, there'll be some issues there. Okay, so yeah, he'll call you. He will make an effort. Okay, he'll text you. Yes, you can easily text somebody. It's a lot cheaper than phoning them. Say, you know, the unlimited text on packages on mobile phones and things. So yes, that's a possibility. Trust me, no man is too busy for a woman he truly wants. Some men, I'd say, have a fear of how much they like someone, and they don't want to be overbearing or come across too available. And sometimes they play a bit hard to get, as you some do. But generally speaking, a man who is together and who knows what he wants, he will make that time. It depends obviously on that person. So I say this statement should be taken. Generally, yeah, we can see what he's saying, but there are circumstances, very, very remote circumstances where that might not be the case. But even so, as a general rule, yes, if you're interested in somebody, you make the effort, So, right, we're going to look at another statement. If you want sex, make it clear. If you want a relationship, make it clear. If you want somebody to talk, make it clear. If you want just time pass, make it clear. If you want someone's help just to move on, make it clear. But don't use someone. I repeat, don't use someone. I can't help but feel the way it's written, I can feel it could be, perhaps I'm being too stereotypical, but I feel it's an African person that's written this. It's got that tone about it, and they're very blunt and direct, and they're very, very, how can I put it? They're very deep and understanding people, and they're very, they just like things, clear in a sense. So they don't mince their words in a sense. If you want sex, okay. So it's pretty blunt. So there's a criteria here, or someone's trying to stipulate to avoid all the confusion, the hurt, the heartache, if you know what you want from the start. But that may be clear cut and clean cut, that you can write these things down, but in reality, your feelings are not predictable. You may start off wanting just sex, or you might just, just want a relationship, or you may not be clear, or what have you. And then as time passes, sometimes it goes past into something else. Also, you might not be very clear about what you want or how to assess what you actually want, in a sense of what you need and what you want, what you desire, and what's best for you. And therefore you can find yourself in a whirlwind. But really, you need to really be clear about your feelings, your thoughts at each stage, so you know what you're up for, and also to assess the other person correctly. And don't be, say, in one of these eerie, fairy conditions as, say, our lady or man in scenario number one might be in. Okay, so there you go. And I think the last statement, but don't use someone, I repeat, don't use someone. That's right, don't use somebody. Nobody likes being used. Nobody likes being rejected, but also nobody likes being used for convenience. That's horrible. It's nothing. It's not out of love. It could have some serious effects on people if they're not mature enough to handle a situation. You know, it could psychologically really affect their self-esteem and have long-term implications on them. Okay, so moving on. The next thing, marry that man who call you back after an argument just to remind you that no matter how difficult things get, he isn't going to leave you. Yes, I can see why somebody would think that, but that's assuming that all men tell the truth. I mean, you could say something, but do you back it up with what you actually say? And it's not just all men, it's women as well. Do all women tell the truth? Sometimes at the time it might be seen right and practical to say something, but after that it certainly isn't. And therefore, circumstances and situations can change. But I think when you make a decision and you're a mature person and you stick to that decision and show an element of maturity, then you're in with a chance. Okay. So to summarize, okay, you've seen all of these messages. What do you think about them? Let's discuss. Yes. For the men who are following this series, please substitute the words man for woman and he for she. Okay. I think we kind of gathered that now. So do you think there's any truth in any of these statements? Okay, we've discussed it. How do you feel when you read these statements? Okay, that's another thing you need to consider. And let's examine them one by one. Statement one, yeah, honestly, if a man wants you, you won't have to ask for effort. We have examined it. Well, yes and no. If a man or woman wants you, he or she will make the effort depending on some certain contingencies. How tired he or she is, what mental state he or she is in, what season he or she is in their life, how much confidence he or she has in their ability. He or she may have poor self-esteem. Maybe he or she has a phobia in this area in their life. What if he or she has sampled or connected to so many women or men counsellors, he or she is incapable of identifying or seeing anyone that he or she could remotely be interested in? Everybody has an opinion, especially if that man or woman is the next most eligible bachelor or bachelorette. Maybe he has spent so much time analysing, he is just completely incapable of making a move. The paralysis of analysis. They could prefer their own gender. They could be encountering a situation which I call master of the game. The thing is, none of the above really should matter. This is irrelevant. Time is our greatest commodity. Move on. You have more important things to channel your efforts into. Okay. Right, master of the game. What do I mean by that? Okay, Master of the Game was a movie that came out in the 80s about a wealthy Scotsman, James McGregor, who began his life as a peasant. But together with a black South African man, found diamonds in South Africa, which made him wealthy. He formulated a company called Kruger Brent, which became the family obsession. He left the sole heir to his estate to his daughter, whom he fathered with a woman called Maggie, who was a South African woman. Her father treated him so badly, he spited the father by getting her pregnant. What began as a spiteful attempt to get back at the spiteful merchandise owner resulted in a twist of fate. The daughter he birthed as sole ownership was trained relentlessly to make the company an obsession, having given birth to only one heir to the company, a son, whom she caused to be insane because of her constant interference with his life and destiny. Her plans caused so much turmoil. Wealthy people have a different mindset. Their dating rules are different from that of the ordinary people. They have to date within their circle. But this can really apply not just to wealthy people, but anybody. Date within your circle, date within what you can handle, which is, what you can understand mentally, what you can, anything outside of that, you have to be prepared to adjust, be flexible and grow. This can be extended to people who are spiritually mature. They cannot date or connect to people who are not at their level of understanding, perception or anointing. The problem with the master of the game scenario is the factor that is often left out of the scenario is that you cannot assume or plan someone's life out for them and treat people like companies. Arranged marriages are okay for some, but not all. Okay. The incorrect way to approach this dilemma. Persistently call or try to make contact with him. Try to use manipulation of some sort. Cast a spell on him. Emotionally blackmail him. Beg God to make him yours. Start improving yourself with the hope that he's going to look at you and change his mind. Wait until he's emotionally down, and then try to help him and give him a bandage. Then he will surely want you and be attracted to you. Boomerang. Okay. Right. Okay. Do you notice what I said about that boomerang thing? And I don't know if you remember the film Boomerang, where you had Angela, the marketing designing person who she eventually made her own company, but all got to the top of the game. But she fell in love with a womanizer, Marcus. And the boomerang was that he eventually got played, okay, by a woman called Jacqueline. And she was a very powerful woman, and she was just, in things very much. She had pretty much a approach to life, which was like, she's the head of the company, or she's been responsible for the company. Therefore, she can't let emotional relationships affect her life, and in a sense of affecting her decisions. And so she just sees sex as something to release tension, to help her to progress mentally in terms of thinking about things, which is obviously her way of doing things. And Marcus, up until this point in time, was actually on the same level of thinking that, but then he actually falls for her. So the boomerang happens there, but then Angela, who met Marcus and was there when he was affected by Jacqueline, became his emotional crutch because he was wounded. And so the boomerang is that when Jacqueline was available again, he went back to her, and Angela was left out in the cold. And then she obviously moved on. As you know the story, they eventually end up together because he comes to his senses and realized that there was one person that really loves him, but the other one didn't, and he knew what he wanted. Okay. So the correct way to approach this dilemma. Yes, improve yourself, but not for this reason. In fact, I would not encourage you to start improving yourself at this stage, as the likelihood is that you would confuse why you were doing it with doing it for him or her. Focus on developing a disciplined thought life. Read about healing, comfort, love, joy, and peace in the Bible. Be intentional about seeking out these scriptures. Apart from getting up, cleaning yourself, making sure you have a balanced diet, making sure you are groomed in brushing your teeth, combing your hair, and trimming your nails, don't worry about makeup and fancy clothing just yet. You are trying to assess where you are and where you need to go. You see, the focus should be on relationship with man, not be relationship with man, but that with God. Develop a prayer life and a disciplined worship life. Declutter your mind of thoughts about sex, relationships, with the purpose of leading to finding a partner. Make a partnership with God. Aim to tune into what God is actually saying. God's faithful. Man not necessarily is. Cut out all the distractions. Watch what distracts you and descends you off course. Be relentless about it. Ask God for peace, his love, joy to fill you. Ask him for emotional and mental healing. Ask him what he wants you to do with your life. What was the purpose for him giving life to you? What did he ordain you to do before you were in your mother's womb? Ask him to help you to fulfill your assignment. Ask him to remove this obsession from you. Ask him to put a new and right spirit inside you. Ask him to help you focus on the things he wants you to do and not these constant distractions which are there to derail your train. Ask God to forgive you for obsessing about this person and the attempts that you have made to try and obtain their affection. Repent. Okay, and on that note, we're going to take a break. Okay, and after the break, I'll come back and finish up. I hope you've enjoyed it so far, but take your breather and then I'll see you on the other side. Okay.